Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see what each movie did, so let's get started. Number 5 was Disclosure Day, making $5.7 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $105 million and its worldwide total to $216 million. One of the more pleasant surprises this weekend. I thought Obsession would have another weekend in the top 5. I thought Disclosure Day would continue to lose steam, but no, it actually held really well this weekend and only dropped 30%. I guess word of mouth started to finally kick in. I guess older audiences wanted to go check this out, whatever the case may be for this movie, but it held really well. Hopefully this does manage to turn the ship around for this movie, as it is nearing the doubling point of its $115 million budget worldwide, and obviously with a lot of the bigger movies on the horizon, it's going to need all the help it can get to leg out and do well against those titans. But yeah, this is a pretty good sign for this movie. Hopefully it can continue doing this. I'm not expecting like a complete rebound or anything, but this is promising and nice to see the movie turn the ship around for itself. Number 4 was Supergirl, making $8.6 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $57 million and its worldwide total to $99 million. Oh, Supergirl, my goodness. Like He-Man before it, I don't want to dwell on this too much. Again, it feels like I'm beating on this movie while it's down because it fell 77% this weekend. My goodness, just nothing. There's just no interest, no word of mouth, nothing is helping this movie out. I wanted to be optimistic and say, well, 4th of July, maybe that'll give it a bump, and there are some people I know who did enjoy this movie, so maybe it'll help it out a bit. Maybe this will be a Disclosure Day, but no, this is a disaster. This is really bad. It's not gonna make the money it needs. Gonna be a huge money loser. Gonna be one of the biggest bombs of the summer. My gosh, this thing is just losing steam, fading fast. There's not much else I can really add here. Again, I just feel it's more sad than anything, really, beating on it while it's down. Just terrible performance for Supergirl. Number 3 was Young Washington, opening with $19 million this weekend domestically. That total stays the same worldwide as it hasn't been released in any international countries yet. I didn't discuss this movie last week because I didn't see much marketing or buzz for this movie on my end. Well, clearly I was living on my own tiny little island because the movie did surprise this weekend. I think out of everything, this benefited the most out of 4th of July being on Saturday. You know, George Washington, America's birthday, you get the correlation. And so it really did kind of surprise. It wasn't, Toy Story 5 or anything, but this is a nice little surprise. Apparently the budget was only $20 million, so it's already made a majority of that back. And while critics weren't too jazzed on this movie, it's sitting at the high 50s on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences seem to be enjoying it. It's sitting at an A on Cinema Score, which is pretty good. I am curious to see if this is going to be front-loaded or if this will leg out, because again, this seems more like a 4th of July type of deal. I'm not sure if a lot of other people are going to go for repeats or second viewings or see this after the 4th of July, because I think the novelty of this movie was to see it for America's birthday. So we'll see how that translates throughout the rest of its box office run. But yeah, a nice solid little opening for sure. Number 2 was Toy Story 5, making $30 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $365 million and a worldwide total of $764 million. So yes, it did take another hit this weekend. Obviously, it was affected by a new kids movie plus 4th of July on Saturday, hurt it a bit, but it is still doing very well. It's still outpacing the other Toy Story sequels. It's on its way to $400 million domestically and $800 million worldwide. I'm not sure if it's going to get to $500 million because again, there is another kids movie on the horizon, but $1 billion definitely seems to be there, and it's still on track to be the biggest film in the franchise. And I don't think anyone is really upset over how well this movie's doing because of how strong it's been doing thus far. And again, it's going to be the biggest, it's already the biggest movie of the summer, and it's going to hold that record for quite some time now. But yeah, still going to be interesting to see where this movie heads forth here. I am concerned about this movie being more on the front-loaded side of things, but these hold. But again, the movie's made so much already, I can't imagine anyone being too upset about it. Hopefully it bounces back from these steep holds again. It was affected a lot by a lot of things this weekend, but the movie's still successful enough that I can't be too upset over how it's doing. And finally, let's end the video off with the number one movie of the weekend, which was Minions and Monsters, opening with $37 million this weekend. And since it opened on Wednesday, it adds to a domestic total of $62 million and a worldwide total of $160 million. This is the 9th biggest opening of the summer. It sits behind Supergirl, Mortal Kombat 2, Disclosure Day, Scary Movie 6, Devil Wears Prada 2, Backrooms, Mandalorian and Grogu, and Toy Story 5, but was able to top Masters of the Universe. 4th biggest opening for an animated and family film this year. It topped GOAT, but still sits behind Hoppers, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and Toy Story 5. It's the 13th biggest opening for an Illumination film, sitting in between The First Sing and The Secret Life of Pets 2, and it's the lowest opening in the Despicable Me Minions franchise. This really did surprise me. I was expecting a pretty solid turnout. I didn't think it was going to be as big as some of the other Minions Despicable Me movies, but certainly something better than this. I thought the marketing was there, even though Toy Story 5 already came out, I thought the passion and love for these characters was still there, and with the strong critical reception, again, at 90% on Rotten Tomatoes is nothing to sneeze at. I thought that would boost this even, especially with many people, even former naysayers of these characters, saying how this is the best in the franchise, even rivaling the first one. But I guess there just wasn't as much interest as I thought there was. This was the third Minions movie in 4 years. The fact that they've been pumping these out every 2 years now, I think has exhausted some people more so than I thought, and maybe it was too much of its own thing. This had nothing to do with Gru or even Kevin Stewart and Bob for that matter, so I guess that kind of turned people away. And plus, 4th of July was on a Saturday this weekend. Many families weren't too busy going to the movies this weekend, so yeah, a bit of a bummer to see Minions take a hit like this. This isn't gonna reach the heights of the predecessors. It may end up being the lowest grossing film in the franchise. Now, this isn't a Supergirl or a He-Man or anything. Don't worry too much. The budget was only $85 million, so it's already made its budget back and it'll still be a successful movie. But I can't see this movie reaching the heights of the first one, especially when audience reception isn't that great either. It received an A- on CinemaScore compared to other family films. It's under Hoppers and GOAT and on par with Super Mario Galaxy, The Breadwinner, and The Sheep Detectives. And in terms of the Despicable Me Minions franchise, it's under all of the other movies except for Despicable Me 3, which also got an A-. And with another kids movie on the horizon this weekend, things ain't looking too great for this movie's legs. So sad to say, but Minions and Monsters looks like an underperformer. I hope it rebounds. Maybe it performs like an Elemental, or dare I say an Obsession, and just explodes suddenly, because in the online film community I've been seeing nothing but positivity about this movie and how much people liked these characters, but I guess that's just not translating into the real world, and we're probably going to see again the lowest grossing film in the franchise, which is upsetting. But hey, what are you gonna do? Again, not a flop, not a bomb or anything, but definitely not what they were hoping for Minions and Monsters. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we have 2 big new movies hitting theaters, starting with Evil Dead Burn, the next film in the Evil Dead franchise. I'm thinking this one could do very well this weekend. It's been a while since we had our last big horror movie since Backrooms and Obsession, and I think horror fans are craving something a bit more twisted, dark, violent, borderline disgusting, and this looks to fill in that void for them. The marketing has been very solid. I've been seeing a lot of stuff and promos for this movie, even though I don't want to look at what's going on in it, but I've seen stuff for it, and the buzz does seem to be really strong, especially given how strong the last Evil Dead movie was for a lot of people. That movie did very well, and this looks to be in line with that movie. So yeah, I'm expecting a pretty solid opening for this. And then there's Moana. It's Moana, but in live action, if you couldn't tell. Now look, these live action remakes have consistently been successful, especially recently, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if this is another winner for them. Moana is such an amazing, beloved Disney film. Even I love it so much, and it's hard not to see why. Again, that movie is just so good, and many people adore it. It has been consistently the most watched film on any streaming service. The marketing has been very solid as well. I've been seeing a lot of promos and stuff for this movie, and I can see, given how Minions underperformed this weekend, that many families may be saving up to go and check this movie out to see as the big family movie. But the strange thing about this is that the buzz doesn't seem to be as strong as some of the other live action remakes. I'm not seeing the hype for this like I did with, like, Lilo and Stitch or The Lion King or The Little Mermaid. And I think maybe because it came out too soon, or the trailers haven't looked that promising, and maybe people are just getting sick of the live action remake craze. But whatever it is, I'm not seeing the buzz or the hype, so I feel like this could come in under expectations. I don't think it's going to be a Snow White or anything, but this could really come under expectations. But I could also see it being something that does completely surprise, like Mufasa the Lion King. I know that was released during the holidays, but we all expected that to flop, and that turned the ship around. And again, this is Moana, and a lot of people do love that animated one, so I could definitely see people rushing to check it out at the last minute. So gonna be interesting to see where this movie lands, but we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Following all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.